That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Let's shift gears and talk about the Sacramento Kings. Media Day is on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Keegan Murray does not have an extension yet.
He does not.
The Keegan Murray extension hits on one of the sports things that I am most interested by. And that is the player, and Keegan Murray fits so perfectly into this box. Pause. He is a good player.
Mm-hmm.
I need that to be established. I think Keegan Murray is good. We've talked about this before. He would start on probably every team in the NBA. You can nitpick and maybe find a few that he wouldn't, but he would be a starter on almost all the NBA teams.
Yeah.
But so I think you have to pay him. But he's probably going to get a contract, in my estimation, in my opinion. I think whatever contract he winds up signing, I don't think there's ever going to be a year in the course of that contract where we look at it and go, wow, Keegan Murray is way outplaying that deal. In fact, I think it'll be the opposite. I think you'll look at it and go, man, Keegan's good, but do you like Keegan at $30 million a year?
Yeah.
$28 million a year? That's what but I would never advocate that you don't pay Keegan Murray, because you need a play. It's the Kings specifically need a player who's a switchable defender, their best defender, I would argue.
Yep.
He's a switchable defender who can knock down a three. He can attack a closeout. He's got a good post-up game if they ever want to use that. Like, there's enough things there that you need him on your team. So you can't not give him an extension, but also whatever extension I think you're giving him, you're a little bit wary of.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to hear this term like surplus value pop up again and again. And right now, I think Keegan Murray does have surplus value. He's a player that, is going to, I don't know what the number is this year. I think it's probably $11 million as the fourth pick in the draft. It'll be right around there what he'll make for this season.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably worth something closer to 20. Now, the problem is, like, when you go to do an extension, like, anything that you're doing there's like a floor that we know
right.
of what Keegan Murray is. And it was probably last season was the floor.
I would agree with you.
Right. And then there's a ceiling, and we still don't know where the ceiling is.
Might have been the rookie year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be a bummer. I would even say
I don't think that's
year two where he averaged, 15 a game. That could be a ceiling, right?
Sure.
18 a game could be the ceiling, 19 or 20. Yeah. We don't really know. I don't think it's like 25 or 27 points per game. I don't believe that to be the case. But you need to, we're in a new NBA where you're not seeing, he makes $11.1 million this year, where you don't rubber stamp like rookie scale extensions anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the first pick in that year's draft, in Keegan's draft, it's Paolo Banchero. He got max money.
As he should.
You're looking at the number 2 pick, and that's Chet Holmgren, and he got close to max money, but not quite, because he plays for the best team in the league, and they're trying to keep their team together as a young core.
He got the Draymond type of extension where Clay and Steph were max guys, Jalen Williams and SGA are max guys.
Yep.
And Chet is going to be just a little below that.
Yeah, he's right there though.
Yeah,
I mean, he signed a very large deal.
Yeah, he's not underpaid.
No, especially for a player who has had major injury problems already throughout his career.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you have like the next player is Jabari Smith Jr. And Jabari signed the 5-year, $122 million deal. No one else from his draft class, until you get down to number 12 at Jalen Williams, who got max money, no one else has signed like their rookie scale extension. And part of it is they're waiting to see what Keegan Murray gets. So we've got Jaden Ivey, the pick after him. We've got Benedict Mathurin. I don't know if you're the Portland Trailblazers, and for that matter, if you're Shaedon Sharp's people, you probably don't want to sign a deal this summer because you want to say, okay, let me show you what I can be.
Mm-hmm.
And then next summer, you're still a restricted free agent. They can still keep you. But a guy like Dyson Daniels at number 8, like Dyson Daniels has been a baller. And, there's potential for some regression this coming season.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like going through a season and having 3 steals a game, yeah, that's interesting and everything. But how are you going to repeat that?
Mm-hmm.
Because teams are going to be like, hey, we're not going to go near him for a while. And so there's a possibility there. There's a possibility shooting numbers come down a little bit, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the rest of the league is kind of waiting for the Keegan extension and seeing what you can get. You have until, I believe it's October 31st to sign the extension. But I do think like the NBA is shifting where, as opposed to just saying, okay, like, look, we're going to give Keegan Murray the full max rookie scale extension of,
Mm-hmm.
5-year 150 or whatever it is, 160, 164.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of doing that, no, we're going to start looking at this value chart, the algorithm that each team has. It puts a value on a player and how much you would spend on a player.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it feels good for players to be looked at that way. And you kind of expect when you're the 4th pick in the draft that you're in line to make this monstrous second contract. But like, look how many failures we've seen over the last,
Yep.
couple of decades of, first round picks, top 10 picks. Top 10 picks, I would say, like, getting a rotational player is probably about 60%.
Mm-hmm.
That means that like 40% fail completely.
And you can really handcuff yourself by giving out a bad extension.
Oh, yeah.
Or giving out an extension to the wrong player.
Yeah, totally. So there has to be like a balancing point here where you're looking at, if I give this player X amount of dollars, number one, is he ever tradable again? Like, you're not expecting to trade him right away, but like, would another team pay this amount?
Yeah.
That's always going to be, that's one of the, like, the basic tenets of the Monty McNair, so, but he comes from the general manager tree that is Daryl Morey, right? And Daryl Morey was always like, hey, you need to have a clear-cut idea of what every single one of your players is worth, and then you need to not overpay your own players, because that's another issue that the NBA has had for years, is that teams overpay their own players. Part of that is a rookie scale extension, and so, like, look, you have to be realistic about who Keegan is as a player, and you have to also be realistic about the situation that you've put Keegan Murray in as a team. And that's where we're going to have some give and take here, where a team is saying, hey, well, I mean, you average 12 points a game. And he's looking back and saying, well, you also brought in a 35-year-old guy who shoots 17 times a game at the small forward position, and I didn't get the shots.
Yeah, I think Keegan's argument would be you created a roster, not you, Scott. The Kings created a roster that required me to play this role, and I played this role.
Yeah, and that role is to play defense on the most difficult cover the other team has, and it's to stand in the corner and not get consistent looks from 3.
Yep.
So not only do you not get enough shots, but your 3-point percentage starts to wane because you're not getting the shots. You're not getting like in a rhythm and consistency.
But if I'm the Kings, I'm then going, well, no, the opportunities were there. You just did not take them.
Yeah, so
you get the ball in your hands, and too often you don't throw a shot at the rim.
I do think that this is going to become a lot closer to what baseball arbitration is, which is like dirty and nasty. And it's like the team is offering, 1.2 million. The player wants 1.5 million. And then they go into a room and they just throw shade at each other the entire time.
The team's going to talk about how much that player sucks.
Yeah, they are. Like, oh, did you see how, we talked yesterday about hard hit balls, soft hit balls, all that stuff. They're going to have an entire chart of how many bad things you did on the field. Like what your exact defensive metrics are. And then like all this weird stuff. And it's this epic battle. I don't know that we've reached that point with the NBA, but I'm looking at all of the contracts that are happening this summer. And, again, Cam Thomas just signed the restricted free agent, said, fine, I'll just play for the qualifying offer. Right. And then I'll leave you guys and you guys, whatever. Right. And then did you see the Quentin Grimes offer?
I did not.
Philadelphia, according to our friend Michael Scotto, offered Quentin Grimes a 4-year, $39 million deal, which is basically his qualifying offer with 8% raises.
God, it's $9.75 million a year.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And he's like, nope, that's fine. I'm probably just going to sign the
Ouch.
qualifying offer. And it's like, okay, well, we control like how much playing time you get. And it's like, all right. Like it's tough. So I don't know. The Kings and Keegan aren't at that point where it's like a low ball situation is happening. I don't believe. But I think a realistic discussion on how much you're truly worth as a player, and that's not always a comfortable situation. And I do look at Keegan Murray not as a $30 million a year player, because then again, the surplus value is a huge negative.
Right.
I look at him more as like a,
if the Kings, you talk about a low ball offer.
Yeah.
But again, not an insulting low ball offer. I think if you're the Kings and you're trying to put out a low offer as like a negotiation point where, hey, we're going to throw this out there in the minute chance he takes it. What do you think that number is? I've got one in mind.
480.
Okay.
That would be like a low ball and slightly insulting.
I did 5 and 90.
5 and 90.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is
18
less
a year.
Which is less than 480.
Less per year with one more year.
Yeah. So no, and I think his people are going to say, okay, look at Jabari Smith's numbers, look at my numbers, and we're the same player. Like realistically, like the stats line up almost identically. And, his people could say, well, he plays on a better team and blah, 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 impacts winning more. And Keegan's people could say, yeah, but the reason why you're not winning games isn't because of Keegan. It's because you don't have more players like Keegan. And the Houston Rockets have more players like Jabari Smith Jr. who are young and athletic and play defense. So, yeah, I think it's interesting to see where we're going to go with this. But I do think something will get done. I have heard that like conversations are happening. There's nothing to report yet, but conversations are happening. And I would expect something to get done because I do know the Kings value Keegan Murray a lot.
I am so interested to see what this winds up looking like. Because I think there's a real chance that depending on how this goes, I think there's a real chance depending on how this goes that there's a like it could really put Keegan in a bad spot if he signs a 4-year $120 million deal.
Yeah.
Because now there's this expectation that you're building, he is a foundational number 1 or number 2 for what you're doing moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the problem. I do think like a 5-year 120, 122 like Jabari Smith got, which is $24 million a year, a little over $24 million. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, and if his people are asking for $28 million, that seems a little high. Because you are going to get into the situation where it's like, hey, are you actually living up to the contract? And if you have him at a point where some seasons he's going to overplay his contract and other seasons he's going to be equal to his contract, maybe a little bit below his contract value, then that's kind of the sweet spot where it's fair for everyone. I do look at him very much in the same way that I look at like Cam Johnson. I think he's in the like I thought he would be better than Cam Johnson, and not Cam Johnson this one magical year where he averaged 19 a game. Right. Every other year of Cam Johnson's career looks very similar to what we've seen from Keegan Murray so far, except for Keegan plays every night.
I wonder how much ceiling factors in, like the projection. Do the Rockets project out Jabari Smith Jr. continuing to be this player that's in line with Keegan Murray and vice versa for the Kings? I'd be really, really interested to know that.
Go ahead.